If you knew how truly powerful your mind was, you wouldn't say or think something you didn't want to be true.
So I blame my mom. My father was murdered. I blame him for certain things. Blamed my girlfriend, blame this, blame that. And I'm like, the one person I've never blamed was myself. I was like, so maybe it's my fault. Maybe it's my fault that I am where I am. I can't do anything about anyone else, but I can do something about me. What can I change about myself?
And mindset is the set of assumptions and attitudes we have around something, around how the world works, especially what we believe is possible, what we believe we're capable of, what we believe we deserve. Because you've heard me say this, that we're not thermometers, we're thermostats. You know, thermometer reacts to the environment, a thermostat sets it, but you have an unconscious set of what you believe you deserve in a relationship. Is that fair? And then your behavior will set that, and that intention will create that level, just like a thermostat will, or how much you feel like you're worth.
For people to understand and discover that within themselves, so everything that they're looking for, everything that they've been looking for has been inside of them this entire time. And creating way through personal example, through any platform, for people to discover that and just hear that and really get the essence of, wow, it was me the entire time. And I truly do feel like a person that gets that and understands that, they will impact 1 million lives. So if you get 1 million people to get that and understand that, that thing is gonna spread like, it's gonna spread like crazy. But people have got to see it. You know, when you see that, now you'll have a different perspective.
They say the two most powerful words in the English language are the shortest, I am. Because whatever you put after that is your life, is your destiny.
Because if you don't tell yourself who you are, then you'll allow anybody else to tell you who you are.
I believe if you give someone an idea, you enrich their life. But if you teach them how to learn, they can enrich their own lives.
Every single child has a desire inside of them, and and it irks me so much because people always speak to the needs of people. Oh, you need this, or you should this, and you should that, and what I want to say is, there is something inside of every child, and there's a desire to do something. But it gets lost because you should do this, you should go to school and do this, you should get a good job, you should do this. And all of a sudden, they'll go to whatever has energy. Wherever the energy goes, that's where the energy flows. And, you know, what I would really want them to know is to tell themselves who they are. Like, I am powerful, I am amazing. And these are things that I'm literally working with lots of parents now. And they're like, yo, within a week, he wasn't getting bullied no more. She wasn't saying that she's ugly anymore because she stopped listening to the outside noise and she started listening to what she told herself she was.
I remember when I finally got into college, and I got into a local university because that's what I could qualify for. And I thought I could make a fresh start because that's what I thought freshman meant. And I took all these classes and I actually did worse. And at this point I was like, that's it. I can't do this anymore. It's been a decade and a half. I work harder than everybody around me, and it's just not for me. Because in the school system, the presupposition is 10% people get A's, 10% get B's, and then everybody else, the 80%, you know, they are failing, you know, in school, as opposed to maybe the school failing them. Do you know what I mean? And so it's not about how, I learned later on, it's not how smart you are or how smart your kids are, it's how are you smart. It's not how smart you are, it's how are you smart. And there are multiple forms of genius, right?
Anything that I do, I like to make sure that it's aligned with what I love. And Power Hour is like your first hour of the day. And, you know, I'm a true believer in momentum. And so what I do every night before I go to bed, I'll write a list of things. What's on the list is irrelevant because your brain responds to progress. Like you go 5 days and you don't get anything productive done, your countenance is very different than you go 5 days and you book this appointment, you get this client, you get this, and all these things are happening. Your physiology changes, your energy changes, everything. So what I did is I just create a list and it's something that's connected to health, something that's connected to my mind, something that's connected to my spirit. It doesn't matter what it is, it's anything where this is being activated, this is being activated, and you know, my spirit, my aura is being activated. So I'll write a list. It'll be like 30, 40 things. And it won't even have to be things that are really massive, because your brain doesn't know what big and small is. We say that. It just knows progress, and it'll follow the momentum wherever you focus it. And I'll put on that list 30 things. Before I go to bed, I look at a picture of my daughter. I look at it, just get myself in the emotion of love, something that just makes me really happy. And then I'll look at the list. Because normally if I look like lists and percentages and charts and stuff, I'll shut down really quick. So I've literally got to create the emotion, the anchor for what this list means to me energetically. So I'll look at all the stuff that I love, then I'll look at the list. Look at stuff that I love, then I'll look at the list. Look at the stuff that I love, then I'll look at the list. When the list starts taking on the same energy as the stuff that I love, then I go to sleep. When you go to sleep, your mind goes to work. And when I wake up, there's just an energy. 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, no alarm clock, just bam, I just pop up. The overflow of what I create, the energy that I create in myself in the morning, spills out into people, spills out into income opportunities, spills out into the world.
Is the first thing that keeps us from doing something is the mindset we don't deserve it, or it's not possible, right? The second force that keeps us stuck is the second circle, which is your motivation. Your motive for taking action. Because you could believe everything is possible and that you deserve it, but if you don't have drive. Now, when I say motivation, I'm not saying coming to an event like this and being around positive people and getting all excited. Because how many of you ever done that? And then what happens the next day? And you're laughing because that's the laughter of recognition. And listen, your neighbor's laughing because we all experience that. And motivation for me is not something where you get really excited and then it wears off like a warm bath. It's really nice, but then after 10, 15 minutes, it gets cold again, right? So I don't believe you need to psych yourself up every single time. I believe there's a formula for sustainable motivation, and it's these three things. This is the formula to be motivated. It's reasons times energy times small, simple steps.
What's the trait that you've cultivated in yourself that you think is most responsible for your success?
Honestly, the ability to love no matter what.
That is not what I expected you to say.
The ability to love no matter what, because I came from such a hateful environment and I didn't know what was going on while I was in insecurity. I don't love myself. I have a high hairline. I'm going to be bald by the time I'm 20, and that's all I'm hearing. My slightly crooked nose. I don't love myself. I don't love my body. So I'm just eat all this food. Like, coming from that environment and then learning to love every aspect of myself, whether you like it or not, and just truly learning to love myself, and then being in a situation where I was in business with someone that had a very similar path and very similar growth of success, but it seemed like something was holding us both down. And I remember one day we were going on a retreat, and I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? Him being a friend to me has nothing to do with me being a friend to him. So I'm just going to love no matter what. And I remember saying that, and something leaped out of my chest. It was like this weird, thick, and I felt light. I felt very different. Now that day I posted, this is before I was getting thousands of likes and thousands of shares. That day I posted something on Facebook. I tagged maybe 48 people and got maybe 30 something likes. That's when nobody was messing with your boy. And that weekend when we went on that trip, I was like, you know, him being a friend to me has nothing to do with me being a friend to him. So I'm just going to love no matter what. And I'm just going, no one state, no one, I will never give anyone else permission to change who I am. And when I just made that decision to love no matter what, even if you hurt me, I know deep down inside that that's not really you. And just to come from the place of loving no matter what, and really being able to accept people for who they are, and how they are not, without any expectation whatsoever. 3 days later, I went on Facebook and I posted the exact same message, but I didn't tag anybody. But I felt different. Feeling is the secret. I felt different where I was coming from, saying the exact same thing. I posted and it was like 475 likes, like within like an hour. I'm like, what the hell happened? I was speaking to my life coach at the time, Monica Zanz, and she was like, well, what did you do different? I was like, well, I had this conversation. She was like, you released hate from your heart. And that was the grip hold that you had, resentment, like what it takes to hold on. Remember I told you, we're not created to be keepers, we're created to be givers. You and I, we can't hold that water, it's gotta come out. Can't hold, like all that stuff you hold on to. And I was holding on to resentment. But the power that it takes to hold on to resentment is the same power that's needed to sustain at the next level. And I didn't even know that I was holding on to the universe at the next level inside of that resentment. When I let that go, anything that I was a part of tripled within 3 months. And people are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? The only thing I did was just like release the resentment that was inside.